Hey Peepsy Doodles. So, I am a self-diagnosed bookaholic, which I'm sure many of you are, especially after hearing the reasons why I have proclaimed my bookaholicness. So, there are many things that I do in my daily life. Hell, they've dated back to way the fuck back, early teen years. And they're things that make other people question if there's something wrong with you. So like, for example, we were getting ready to create the nursery for my own daughter, and it took me weeks to actually move shit out of there because I didn't know what to do with my bookshelves. I couldn't just take them down and box up books. Like, that's fucking blasphemy. You can't just box up books. Now, I will tell you that I do have boxes of books, but those boxes of books are copies of books that I already have out. So, like, I have the hardcovers that are on the bookshelf and the paperbacks in the box, because God forbid you get rid of the paperbacks in case you're carrying around a purse that's too small for the hardcover. Then you can go find the paperback to put in your purse. Duh. Like, come on. So, yeah, that's another thing. Purses. Us ladies, we will buy purses. Like, I will literally take my Kindle or a book with me, a larger book, to ensure that the purse that I buy will fit a book in it. Because if it doesn't, then fuck that, I just can't. Because you have to have a book with you at all times, which goes on to my next point. Book has to be with you at all times. Like, there's a book in my lunchbox, there's a book in my car, there's books in my bedroom, in the living room, in probably the kitchen. Actually, there are, because there's cookbooks in the kitchen. My daughter's room, she has her own books. The bathroom has books. Like, everywhere that you go to reach, you should be able to reach and get a book in my house. And you can. Like, it's pretty easy to do so. When I was younger and I was going to school, I used to carry multiple books with me, because God forbid you finish the book that you were reading and you didn't have the second one in the series to go to. So, like, when I was in high school, I would carry around 2 of the hardcover Twilight books along with my textbooks to class, because I was getting close to the end of one of the Twilight books and I needed to continue. So that's another thing, is you literally will carry around multiple books in case you finish the one you're reading. You could be like halfway through the one you're reading and still have like this much left, and you're like, no, what if I'm like sitting somewhere for multiple hours at a time and I have nothing to do during my day, where I'm, working, like you normally have shit to do, to where you don't have hours at a time to just sit and read a book. No, just in case I have to bring a second one with me. Or what if I don't want to read the one that I'm currently like halfway through and I want to start a new one? Then I have that option of starting that other book. That's another thing. A lot of bookaholics will have multiple books going at the same time. When I was younger, I used to do that. I literally would have 3 or 4 books all going at once, and they would all be different genres, like totally different shit. Now, I have really bad, like, if I start a book and then I get really excited and start another book, then I will normally continue on with that one. I can't continue on, sorry, this thing's loud. I can't continue on with the book that I was reading because I completely forgot where I was and I have to restart it, and that pisses me off. So my brain is not, especially after becoming a mama, my brain is, yeah, so one book is what I got currently, but I did do it at one point. And speaking of starting books, holy shit, how long does it normally take you guys to start a new book after you've finished another book, or finished a series, which is even worse? Like, you can't just pick up a book and start reading it. Like, the fuck is wrong with you? Because it's not like it's just like picking it up and like, oh, I'm gonna start that. No, reading a new story is like starting a relationship, and you can't just jump in the sack with anybody. I mean, you could, but that's where shit could be bad. Like, shit could get ugly. You could get your feelings hurt. So you have to like ease into a new book or a new book series. Gotta kind of test the waters, like read a couple pages, maybe give it a couple days, because I mean, if you just spent hours or days or possibly weeks with the characters of the last series you just read, and then all of a sudden you think you can just jump into a new series, that's like turmoil. Like, emotional issues ensue when you're finished with a series. Like, when I finished the Twilight series when I was in high school, I was devastated for quite a long time because those characters, like, the characters that you're reading about in your series and your whatever, what the fuck ever, become ingrained in your life when you find a really good series. And so when you're done, you're like left with this empty feeling. It's like you just broke up with someone. You're like, what am I supposed to do now? It's like, well, you could go read the hundreds of other books that you have yet to read that are on your shelves. And you're like, fuck that. I need to sit and wallow in the fact that those characters are no longer in my life. And then you will probably go back yearly to reread that series to get that same feeling because we want it. That's how you know that you have a good book series, is if you're left with that empty, I might die without them feeling. We want that. Why the fuck do we want that? We do. And it's just bad news bears. So like, speaking of hundreds of books, you have hundreds of books on multiple bookshelves that you have not read. You buy them at bookstores, put them on the shelf with the excitement. You're like a 2-year-old that was just given a lollipop. You are so fucking excited. So you put it on the shelf because you're currently reading something. And how long does it take you to get to that book? You probably still haven't gotten to it because there are hundreds of other books that you want to read. And so it just sits there. And what do? You continue to go to the bookstore and buy more books to put on your shelf because you're like, I need to make sure that I have plenty of reading material in case someday bookshops are fucking extinct. I need to make sure that my home is filled with these blissful pages so that I can just like pick shit up and just read it as I want to. So now you have bookshelves. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bookshelves full. Like, I'm to the point where I'm stacking books on top of other books, horizontally, so that you can fit them in there because I don't actually have another place to put more bookshelves in my apartment unless I like put them down in the fucking breezeway or something. But you don't have room for more, but you just keep buying them. You just keep going, and you could be during the week when you're like, we're really kind of skimping. We're gonna skip grocery shopping this week to get things like food, but you can go and drop a bill at a bookstore because it is priorities. The priorities are, you have to make sure that those are straight, which means you need more books because God forbid you not have enough. I mean, jeez. What do you mean? If you still see fucking empty space on your shelves, you fucking got room. You've got room for more books. I mean, Jesus. And I'm going to tell you what, I know I'm not the only person that does these things because I know I'm not. Because these are confessions of a bookaholic. And I'm telling you my problems. Okay, this is one more thing. Do you guys ever feel like books have feelings? Or am I the only person? Like, I feel like my books get sad when I read another book over those books. And so I will have a stack on my nightstand, because God forbid you use your nightstand for anything other than a lamp and a stack of books. But there's a stack there of all these books that I've started reading, but I'm like, I don't know which, like I will go weeks at a time not reading anything because I don't know which book to read, because I don't want to hurt the feelings of all the other books that I haven't read. And I'm like, well, I really want to read this book, but I also really want to read with the same intensity these 3 other books. And you're like, well, if I read this one, then I'm going to miss out on these 3. But if I read this one, I'm going to miss out on these other 3. And you're like, well, you know, instead of just like reading through them, like I'm going to read this one, then this one, then this one, then you like get this horrible anxiety because you don't know which one to start. You're like, what if I start this one and I didn't like it, but I could have read this one, and I wasted days reading this book that I didn't get into, but I could have gotten into this one and it could have been like my new favorite. Then you just don't read anything because feelings. So yeah, those are my confessions of a bookaholic. I hope I'm not the only one that's batshit crazy. Yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go feed my kid and continue reading Game of Thrones. So I hope you guys have an awesome one, and I'll see you later. Bye.